I love watching productivity videos. I have watched hundreds and thousands of hours from productivity gurus on YouTube, such as Ali Abdaal, Thomas Frank, Project Elan, Niklas Christl, Jay Shetty, Pumile Dwaba, Kama Medic. There are hundreds and thousands of productivity YouTubers on YouTube, and I love watching them because they inspire me and they motivate me to get the most out of my day. However, it has come to a point where I realize that they keep saying the same things ultimately in different phrases in a different way, and there's like subtle differences with all these productivity tips that I give you. And I'm not bashing them in any way, shape, or form, but it's just come to a point where I keep watching the same content and it's giving me the same solutions. So as a result, I have vowed that 2022 I'll be implementing these things that they have taught me instead of just consuming the content because I cannot continue consuming anymore. I am done. Like my YouTube algorithm right now just bores me because it's like I am so over these YouTube videos. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 lessons that I have learned from all these productivity YouTubers, and I'm hoping that you find something interesting and something useful from these lessons that you can implement in the year 2022. The first lesson that I've learned is that you need to plan out the direction of your life, because if you're not creating any goals, your life can go in any direction and you not have something that you're striving towards, and you become demotivated because you have no passion and you have no purpose for why you're actually going through that year. As a result, you need to plan your goals to be creating a roadmap of where the year is going to be taking you. Yes, there's going to be a lot of surprises. They'll either be good or they'll be bad. But if you have a certain direction, you'll be able to make better decisions for the things that you're going to allow to come into your life. And opportunities will come, but you decide whether you go for those opportunities or not, depending on where your direction in life is going, because you cannot have a journey without a destination. Lesson number two is that we need to create more systems and less goals. We are creatures of habits. Therefore, we need to capitalize on the natural talents that we have by creating automatic and sequential steps of doing certain tasks in our lives. For example, we all wake up, we go wash our face, we brush our teeth, we get dressed, and we go to school. We all have a specific routine of the things that always will happen on a daily basis. As a result, for you to introduce new habits into your life, you need to use a technique called habit stacking, which I learned from James Clear in the book Atomic Habits. Guys, I highly suggest that you read this book. But what he was essentially saying is that we've got set things that happen in our life without us ever thinking or planning that they're going to happen. As a result, if you want to implement a new habit, you need to bring the new habit, incorporate it into the things that we already do naturally. For example, I want to have a good devotional life and I also want to be exercising. Those are big, important new habits that I'm incorporating into my life. So, how I make sure that they happen in the morning, I know I'll always wake up, go to the bathroom, drink water, then come and get my day started. So, during that process, I need to make sure that I put in my earphones, I'm listening to worship music. After I drink my water, I know I'm awake. I do my devotion. After that, I get into my exercise gear, I exercise, and then I get on with the rest of my day. So there's things that naturally just happen when I wake up. So if I incorporate the new habits into the normal routine of my life, it's much easier for me to get into routine and to be able to take in those new habits instead of trying to create a whole new system that naturally doesn't work for you. Lesson number three is you need to adopt good habits that will keep you on track. So, this is the part of the video where I advertise the 6 habits that you need to be a successful and productive student. And I know we've seen all these headlines on YouTube, and they're not exaggerating, they genuinely are good habits that you need to incorporate into your life. They'll make you more productive, they'll make you more happy, they'll just make you more energized. So, I'm going to be giving you 6 habits that I found that are the most useful. I've implemented them in my own life and I genuinely know that they work. So the first habit is you need to wake up early. And waking up early is dependent on your own personality and the type of routine that you have. So for me, early could be 5 a.m. For you, it could be 7 a.m. It's just at least an hour earlier than your usual time. And the reason for this is it gives you a few extra minutes to just get into the zone and create what is known as the golden hour. So the golden hour is the first hour after you wake up, and how you use that first hour of the day will determine the tone of the rest of your day. So if you wake up, you're productive, you're reading your devotion, you're exercising, you're meditating, etc., etc., the rest of the day will be more productive because you started it, you were active, and you've already achieved something in that first hour of the day before most people are awake. Compared if you wake up, you're lazing around, you're scrolling through your phone, you're waking up in someone else's life, and by the time you realize that you need to wake up, you've already wasted a lot of time, and the rest of the day it will just be lazy, and you essentially are already behind schedule. The second habit is you need to read at least 30 minutes a day. You need to always have a beginner mindset, constantly wanting to learn. And this is where reading becomes very useful because of people that have gone through experiences, they've learned a lot of lessons that they are now writing for us to be able to read. So as a result, be willing to learn what other people have to teach you. Great books that I can suggest for you that I have read that have helped me immensely is Atomic Habits by James Clear, guys. It's a great book. I highly suggest you read it. Then there's the 5 a.m. Club or The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma, and the book Will by Will Smith is really great. And then some books that I've had great reviews on is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, Don't Drop the Mic or Soul by TD Jakes. I've had great reviews about it, but I haven't read them yet. So if you have read them, definitely comment down below in the comment section and let me know what you thought of them. The third habit is you need to keep your mental health in check. So this could include journaling, meditating, practicing gratitude, whatever it is that you need to do to keep your mental health in check. Because I know right now there's a lot of things that are happening, and now especially with online classes, people that are used to having that, physical interaction with people, it's not happening as much, and it can really throw us off course. There's just a lot of struggles that are happening. So it's very, very important that you're constantly staying in tune with your emotions. Fourth habit is that you need to sleep at least 7 to 9 hours, but this is all through experimentation, sleeping at different hours, and determining which number of hours work for you. And you need to have sort of an indicator in your life that tells you whether you had a great night's sleep or not. For me, it's exercise. If I had a great night's sleep, my exercise will go wonderful. I'll enjoy it, I'll love it, and I wouldn't feel as exhausted or as if I'm exerting a lot of power into it, if that makes sense. But if I don't sleep well, my exercise goes haywire. So just always have that indicator that tells you whether you had a great night or not, but aim to have the same amount of sleep every night if possible. The fifth habit is exercise. We all know, we've heard this has been preached a lot, but just 20 minutes of physical exercise improves the blood flow to your brain, which is also highly, highly important for your hippocampus, which helps you in concentration, focus, and information retention. So in exercising, you're helping yourself to relieve stress as a study break, and also to help you simulate and understand the information that you are studying. And the last habit you can adopt is a good nutrition. This is especially important if you exercise a lot, because you're consuming or you're expending a lot more energy than someone who doesn't. But even if you're not exercising, our brains need good nutrition to be able to grow and function better, and our bodies need that good nutrition for us to be able to focus and to be able to fight off diseases. Those are the 6 habits that you can include into your daily life. They're not complicated, they're not hard, they're not out of the norm, and anyone can do them. The fourth lesson that I've learned is that you need to declutter your life, your physical and your digital life, because a messy workspace is a messy mindset. So allocate at least 5 to 10 minutes at the end of each day where you just clean out your desk, wipe it down, because COVID is still a thing, but just pack away things. So the next time that you're starting your workday, it's on a clean space, and you won't be as distracted with all the things that are out of place, and you constantly know where your things are. And I also highly suggest that you also do this for your digital space. You can do it on a daily, weekly, or a monthly basis. We just take all the things that you have downloaded and put them in the appropriate files, delete things that you do not, and just allocate things according to the appropriate files. Last week, we learned how to declutter and organize your digital space. So therefore, make sure that you're using those systems that you've already set up for yourself. The first thing is you need to plan out your days. As we have already mentioned at the beginning, you need to plan out how your year is going to go. So those yearly goals need to be turned into monthly, weekly, and daily habits that you're going to be doing. And for you to make sure that you are doing those things, you need to be planning out your weeks and your days. I've already talked about this in my video last week, so I'm not going to dwell a lot on this. But calendar blocking is very important so that you know at each hour of the day what are you doing. Make sure that you're prioritizing the most important and time consuming tasks first, and how you allocate your task. You can use what is known as the EisenHower Matrix. So the EisenHower Matrix is you pretty much allocate each task according to its importance and urgency. So if it's important and it's urgent, you need to do it now. If it's important but not urgent, you need to plan or schedule it for a later time. If it's not important but urgent, you can delegate it for someone else to do it for you if possible. And if it's not important and not urgent, rather get rid of it or don't even include it in your to-do list, or find someone else who can do it for you. But just try to keep your tasks into the important and urgent, or important but not urgent, and those are the things that you do first. The sixth lesson is you need to brain dump. So brain dumping is before you perform any task, you take a piece of paper and write down all the thoughts that you have in your mind. Because if you're like me, my mind is constantly firing. There's constantly thoughts and things that I need to do, and it can make it very difficult for me to actually get started and get into that zone of actually working and staying focused. So if you brain dump, you know that all the thoughts that you had in your head, there's some on a piece of paper, and you can look at it and deal with it later on after you finish the task that you need to do. Because if you have a complete list of the things that you need to do, you can batch things that can be done together. Like if you need to go shopping, go to the bank, and exercise, you can do it all in once in one trip, and it doesn't take as much time from you. Lesson number 7, productivity is more about self-management than time management. Time is constant. There will constantly be 24 hours in the day, and that will never change. But our energy fluctuates, and as a result, we need to be capitalizing on the times that we're the most productive. We have the most energy, so that we're getting the most out of those times. As a result, all your most important and your most time-consuming tasks must always be done first, and must be done in the times where you're the most productive. And sometimes you are not going to feel like doing the work that you've set yourself up for. And as a result, you need to build your self-discipline. That is why it's important to create that routine where you know you're waking up, exercising, eating breakfast, getting your work started. If you're constantly doing that same routine over and over and over again, it becomes automatic for you, and you will already know that after you eat breakfast, you know you need to get your work started. Lesson number 8 is you need to combat procrastination. You need to allocate 1, maximum 2 tasks that you absolutely need to accomplish for the day, and the rest can be categorized according to the importance and how urgent they need to be done. If you have done those, you were productive, and the rest can come later on. Lesson number 9 is that you need to detach your self-worth from productivity, because sometimes we can beat ourselves up when we don't accomplish the mountain of to-do lists that we have. However, we need to look at the problems that we are getting into and try to find solutions, because majority of the time it's because we are underestimating how long a certain task is going to take us, and as a result we are under allocating the amount of time that we're giving it. Another thing, we also underestimate or we overestimate how much we can actually get done during the day. So therefore you need to be more realistic about the certain things that you're allocating for the day. And that's why it's important to calendar block, because when you're calendar blocking, you can actually see how much time you're allocating and see how many hours you have left. Because sometimes you write a to-do list, but we do not allocate the times, and as a result you might actually end up writing a to-do list that requires you to have 20 hours, but in the day you only have 10 hours of working. And the last lesson that I learned is that you need to surround yourself with the right people. We've all heard the quote that you're the sum of the people that you surround yourself with. And I also add this quote from the book Will by Will Smith, which says, it's nearly impossible for the quality of your life to be higher than the quality of your friends. As a result, if your friends demotivate you, they are lazy, they're slacking off, they do their things last minute, you're more likely to gravitate towards that because that is a environment that you've surrounded yourself with. But if you have friends that are going to keep you accountable, keep you motivated, remind you of the goals that you set off, you're more likely to get things done because that's the environment that you have set yourself up. So never ever forget that the type of environment that you put yourself in will determine how productive you are going to be. So these are the 10 lessons that I've learned from the productivity gurus on YouTube. So I really hope that you join me on this journey to be implementing these 10 lessons and focus less on reading about them and actually putting them into my life. So comment down below. I'd be interested which of these 10 lessons you're going to be incorporating in your life. I hope you join me next week, Friday, 12 p.m. South African time, where I'm going to be giving you study tips that you need to implement before the academic year starts so that you're getting into the right routine. I hope you have noticed that over the past 2 weeks, it's been like a journey to starting the academic year successfully. So if you haven't watched those videos, I highly suggest you watch the first video about reflection of the previous year. Then last week's video was about how to prepare your physical environment mostly for a successful academic year. And then this week we were discussing about productivity tips, and then next week it will be study tips, and that'll be the end of our planning and preparing for the academic year. And I hope you guys are making use of the tips that I'm giving you so that we can always start this academic year on a good note. Until next week, Friday, don't forget to subscribe down below. Bye, guys.